underneath all of this, then, throughout all of the Hellenic philosophical systems, is an idea that we have multiple parts of self. And I want to reference what I think is one of the most powerful images of this that is used in ancient Greek philosophy, and it comes from Plato's Phaedrus. And this is the image of the chariot. Now, anyone who does tarot would recognize the tarot card of the chariot, and that iconographic image is actually taken from this image from the Phaedrus, which, like I said, is foundational in Platonic philosophy and is used a lot. And I think it's really powerful if we can think about it. So one of the things to note here is when we're talking about the chariot, which includes the two horses, the chariot, and the charioteer. And so that taken as a whole, what we are dealing with here is that all of these are parts of spirit or parts of soul. They are not the body. We're not talking about the body here. And I think that's important to recognize. These are all parts of the self that are this non-physical aspect. So in this image, you have the dark horse. The dark horse is the aspect of soul, for a human soul, that is closest related to the body. It has to do with the appetitive nature of our souls. So this is the part of us that feels desire and aversion. And like I said, it's closely related to the body. And then we have the white horse. The white horse is sometimes it's talked about with themos, which it means heart. It's like the dynamic hearted nature. And this horse is the aspect of soul that includes all of the ennobled emotions and kind of our more noble passions that can drive us in good direction, and has a lot of the venemis, which is kind of life force with it. So you have the two horses. And then you have the charioteer, and the charioteer is our reason. The charioteer is our highest self. Now, I think that, you can get kind of an image of this, but I think when you combine it with another aspect that also comes directly from this tradition, you can see how this really works. Okay, so many of you have probably heard the phrase, the turning point. We've reached the turning point in this, that, or the other, which is a very powerful phrase. It usually means we've reached this moment in which things can shift and move, and it's a very dynamic moment. And it's also kind of inherently liminal, dangerous moment. Well, this actually comes from ancient Greek chariot racing. So it is very directly related to this image. And I want to explain a little bit about how it works. So first of all, ancient Greek chariot racing is a very sacred event, and it is included in the sacred games. The most famous, of course, is the Olympics, but it's also something that was done at funeral games. And it is one of the areas in which there is an expression of a particular type of excellence that actually is considered, because it's read through this, this kind of image, as a type of moral excellence as well. So the way in which an ancient Greek chariot race goes is that you take off down a fairly straight line, and then there is a point that is the turning point, and it's usually around the grave of a divine hero, at which point you are making pretty much a hairpin turn. And this is the most dangerous moment in it. And what you have to do, if you think about this, is that you have the charioteer. They have to be able to very dynamically let one of the horses suddenly have like a lot of slack so it can run really quickly, while reining in the other horse tightly so that it is going much slower, so you can make that hairpin turn. So the point of this is that when we are operating, and so that's really the image that means kind of this idea of moral excellence, of the appropriate acting within all parts of self, is that the charioteer has to have this very dynamic understanding and careful control of when to allow which horse to go more slackly and more tightly, and to be able to do this within its context in the moment. And that's really what that image is drawing about. And I do want to make sure that we all understand all of this is parts of soul, and all of them are necessary, and all of them are good. It just is that the charioteer has to be the reason, and the higher self has to be in kind of careful balance with all of these, and in control, is more or less what the image is saying.